evening and welcome to the Boards and Commission interviews. Tonight's meeting is an opportunity for the council to hear from select applicants to the city's council nominated boards and commissions. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to present their qualifications and reasons for applying. Before we begin, I would like to thank all of our community members that took the time to apply to serve on a board or commission this year. This is a really important process to the city, and the fact that we have people from the community that can help advise council helps us to make better decisions. Tonight, we will hear applicant statements from the following boards and commissions: Budget Committee, Toxics Board, and Human Rights. Council is not scheduled to make appointments until June 12th at our meeting that night. Staff, can you please announce the first two speakers?
Our first speaker tonight is Joshua Caraco, followed by Jesse Maldonado.
Well, I did not expect to be first. That's okay. My name is Joshua Caraco. I'm applying to be on the Budget Committee. I live in Ward 1, Councillor Semple's ward. I believe strongly in community engagement. I think budget's really important, obviously. I don't want to waste too much time there. I have a degree in linguistics from the University of Oregon and a certificate in geographic information systems or sciences from LCC. So I've attended both of our major institutions here. I'm currently the vice chair of the CDBG Advisory Committee, which doesn't really mean much unless the chair's not there. But it is a committee that looks at a very small budget, much smaller than this one. It's actually a much smaller commitment than the Budget Committee. Nonetheless, it is relevant and it deals with a budget that has a lot of weird strings attached to how the money is spent. I was on a housing policy board subcommittee several years ago and helped with a renters survey that you've all seen and heard about a bit. I think what's most important about that, despite any criticisms of it, is in the short time that it was up, which was only a few months and online for maybe 1 month, it received at the time more responses than any public survey had ever received. So I think just community engagement would be an important qualification. I helped found and start the Springfield Eugene Tenant Association, was the first hotline manager there. And I've volunteered at a you name it of nonprofits in town, from vegan warming centers to Friends of Buford Park in Mount Pisgah and the School Garden Project at various times. Currently, I'm working on a large art project, a musical theater type production with a partner of mine who is from South Africa and was in Cirque du Soleil for a while. And we got a big grant from the Oregon Community Foundation. And I am kind of the primary project manager and responsible. I wrote the grant and have created the budget for that and stuff like that. So I kind of have my hands in a lot of different places in this community. And I'm definitely familiar with budgets. I'm under 40 and Jewish and a renter. I wouldn't really pick me for diversity qualifications, but those actually probably do check some boxes that a lot of committees do not have. I'm known for talking a lot in committee meetings. I'm known for reading the materials really carefully and having a lot of questions, but I'm not really known for monopolizing. I'm also known for asking opinions and encouraging quieter members of the committee who are maybe less experienced in being there or just shyer about speaking up to offer their opinions, which would be back to community engagement. So I think I'd be pretty good for this committee if you guys will accept me. And hey, look, I'm also really good at speaking for exactly 3 minutes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joshua. Next, we will hear from Jesse Maldonado, followed by Jeff Monette.
Good evening, councilors. Mayor, I guess the mayor's not here. It's in my notes, but I'll let her know next time I see her. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. I plan to take 2 minutes and 42 seconds of your time. My name is Jesse Maldonado. I'm 29 days away from graduating with my public administration's degree from U of O, but who's counting? I've been a resident of Eugene since the fall of 2021. I now live in Councilman Keating's Ward 2. I'm very glad to call Eugene my new home. Before I moved here, I grew up in Idaho, which is really where I found my passion for public service, especially for local government. with an absolutely atrocious haircut and this baby face I'm still trying to maintain today. I ran for city council at the age of 18 and became the youngest councilman ever elected in Idaho. During my time on council, really where I discovered my love and frankly nerdiness for budgeting in municipal governments. I don't think there's a more tangible form of government than municipal government and city government. Decisions that you all make, the decisions that the Citizens Budget Committee makes, have an incredible impact on the daily lives of our neighbors and the community at whole. And frankly, that's why I decided to apply for the Citizens Budget Committee here in Eugene. Having worked through 4 budget cycles as a city councilor, I understand the pulling forces that you all face when it comes time to budgeting. It's not easy. Not everybody leaves happy. There's tough decisions that need to be made, but ensuring that the essential services and the needs and priorities of the community are met at the same time is a juggling act that you are all familiar with. I'm intimately familiar with as well. My approach to budgeting has always been working from the bottom up, not the top down, listening to staff, listening to community members, understanding the needs of local businesses, coming to work sessions and meetings with an understanding of what the community is prioritizing, not just for this budget cycle, but the future. The unpredictability of the economy that we all have become intimately aware of in the last 3 years has only heightened, I think, the importance of being responsible with taxpayer dollars and ensuring that the city can still operate and provide the services on which citizens rely. It couldn't be more important only prepare ourselves for the opportunities and challenges of today, but also to keep our sights set on what the future holds and understand that budgeting is more than just one cycle at a time. So thankfully, we have strategic plans, talented staff, an engaged community willing to help in these conversations and decisions. So it would truly be an honor to put my work that I've done and my background as an elected official, my education, my passion for public service to join the Citizens Budget Committee. And I would be humbled to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Our next 2 candidates are from the Toxics Board. That'll be Jeff Monette, followed by Janessa Sandoval.
Hello, my name is Jeff Monette. I am a research and development manager at a local biotech company called Abcam. We make protein assays for pharma and academia. I received my bachelor's of science in chemistry at Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio, followed by my PhD in biochemistry and biophysics at Oregon State University. I think that I would be a good fit for the toxic boards because I do understand chemicals and their backgrounds. And I also serve as the biological safety officer for my company at the site here in Eugene. That means that I make sure that all of the tissue samples and stuff like that are taken care of properly with a mission to make sure that all of my people on site go home in perfect health and in just as happy as they came in that morning. The reason why I applied for the toxic board today is that I'd like to extend that to Eugene. I have a background in working for City of Dayton Water. I did Superfund site investigations, looked at chromium plating sources, and also monitored water flow and measured chemicals within the water there. So I do believe that our environment needs to be taken care of, and companies like mine, Abcam, have a responsibility to make sure that we take care of the environment around us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Next, we will hear from Janessa Sandoval, followed by Karen Anderson.
Good afternoon. My name is Janessa Sandoval, and I would like to be a member of the Eugene Toxics Board. So to give you guys a little bit of background about myself, I graduated in May of 2020 from the State University of New York College of Environmental Science and Forestry. It's a very long name, but I got a degree in bioprocess engineering. And right after I graduated, I moved to Eugene to work at the International Paper Mill in Springfield. So I was there for about 2.5 years and gained some experience working as a process engineer in their manufacturing areas and working in the environmental health and safety department. I then moved to my current position about 7 months ago to be an engineer with PBS Engineering and Environmental. They're a consulting firm based in Oregon, and they have an office right here in Eugene. So during my time with IP as a process engineer, I managed specialty chemical applications for the paper machine area I learned the importance of proper chemical management in regards to transportation, storage, record keeping, safety, and usage of these industrial chemicals. I also learned about the amount of time, effort, and manpower it takes to do these things the right way. While working in the EHS department there, I gained experience working on different safety program initiatives and working with environmental compliance related to chemical management, air, and wastewater. Now working with PBS, I've helped our senior engineer with TRI documents and inventory management at various local manufacturing facilities and gained some familiarity with the TRI requirements. Outside of my work experience, I've volunteered with local groups such as Friends of Trees and Forests Today and Forever, because I believe it's important to take part in these events to connect with others in the community and to learn how industries and us as individuals interact with the environment and what impacts our actions may have, whether positive or negative. The Toxics Right to Know Act is not only valuable for the safety of the community and the environment, but for industry professionals and employees as well. I believe it's important to develop programs that are efficient and easy to follow, so there are less discrepancies when it comes to reporting for businesses. Although I'm still young in my career, I would like to join the Toxics Board so I can learn about and assist with the different management and implementation practices for the Toxics program. I also want to use this experience to not only learn about TRI compliance and requirements, but to help understand how we can work more closely with different businesses to improve the reporting process and how we can use the TRI information to support and hopefully improve the environmental health of our community. I appreciate this opportunity to discuss my interests. Thank you.
Thank you, Janessa. Our next candidates are for the Human Rights Commission, and that'll be Karen Anderson, followed by Dr. Silky Booker.
Good evening. I'm going to apologize right now. I'm a former litigator, so 3 minutes is real tough for me. We're going to see if I can keep myself. My name is Karen Anderson, and I am here for the Human Rights Commission, hopefully an applicant, hopefully a candidate for that. As I said, I'm an attorney. My husband and I moved to Eugene 11 years ago so I could go to the University of Oregon Law School. I am currently a senior civil rights investigator for BOLI. So I work with Ibrahim Coulibaly, who is on the Human Rights Board currently. I'm not quite sure if he's planning on doing a second term. We haven't chatted about that, but I will ask him tomorrow. Prior to BOLI, I worked for a firm here in town for several years where I had the opportunity to represent a number of people who were experiencing domestic violence. And that was an area of practice that I really focused on, was assisting people who are experiencing that and then abuse in their homes and in their lives. Having that experience, I think, along with working at BOLI, really helps inform me about various human rights issues and how they impact people in the local community. In addition to that, I'm also going into my 6th year as a board member for the Mount Pisgah Arboretum. So I think I'm going to stay the vice president for this year. I was previously the president there. And I also routinely volunteer for the Egan Warming Commission, Egan Warming Center, and have been a shift lead for them. I also try to volunteer with the Parks and Rec park cleanup, although that has become difficult recently because I have a kid now and toddlers are not conducive to cleaning up parks. We try, we really try. I'm also a mom to a very cute dog, almost as cute as the kid. Which I think is important to say for the record. Really, what I want to do here is one of the reasons my husband and I wanted to move to Eugene, why we chose this community, was because of these commissions. We found it to be so notable and really, I think, in many ways unique to the states. I think it's very rare to have this in a city where people can be this involved in a municipal with a municipal organization like this. So having this opportunity to me is a huge deal. And I think I can bring a lot of energy, a lot of commitment, because I know how to work hard and get projects done, which I think can be a huge issue sometimes. And I also hope to bring some new ideas and some things to contribute that we're not currently doing that I think can help address other areas and reach a wider range of people with the Human Rights Commission than we are currently. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you, Karen. Our next speaker will be Dr. Silky Booker. Just as a quick reminder, you have 3 minutes to speak, and that timer should be visible on Zoom. All right, whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I apologize for not being able to make it there tonight. I've had a previous engagement. Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Dr. Silky J. Booker, and I would like to be a member of the Human Rights Commission. I am a United States Air Force disabled combat veteran with 15 years of service. I earned my Associates of Arts from the University of Maryland University College in Business Management and my Bachelor of Arts from the University of Maryland Global College in Communication Studies. While I was enlisted, I was constantly involved in community outreach, mentoring, and specializing in empowering and educating my peers. I earned my honorary doctorate of arts and worship from the Arts and Entertainment Department at the United Graduate College and Seminary International. In 2014, I partnered with Dr. Melita Harris Barrow, Peace Ambassador of Panama and the Love, Truth, and Peace Global Initiative, and I am currently on the board of directors for the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce. Our work supports the growth and development of the continent, the African diaspora, and indigenous people worldwide. In 2020, I established an official 501c3 named King Silky's Blessing Boxes. I recognized the growing need in the community for more outreach programs and the need to help people with food insecurities and mental health support. I am currently the vice chair for the Oregon Commission on Black Affairs, where we work for the implementation and establishment of economic, social, legal, and political equity for Oregon's African American and Black communities. I am also a Eugene Police Commissioner and work on the board for the Eugene Economic Opportunities Work Group. My greatest strength for this board comes in the form of my community involvement, multitasking, and my ambition to become the change I want to see. I am already out in public working tireless to bring equity and equality to people of color. This skill and platform that I can utilize to help promote universal human rights more broadly. I am acutely aware of racial and social inequalities that minority communities are facing, and I would like to have a voice in the implementation and initiation of programs, services that make Eugene community all-inclusive and strengthen the relationships with community members and leadership that develop human rights policy. I want to be a part of addressing important issues, the systemic racism, mental health crisis, and homelessness that plagues our community. If I am selected to serve on this board, I would like to be involved in making sure human rights are the ground rules for how we should treat one another with dignity, respect, equity, and fairness. For many African Americans and people of color, for much of history and within the city of Eugene, they have been denied and are still being denied. I want to be the voice of courage to discuss facts about our history and current situation and be able to draw conclusions with solutions and most of all, make a difference. In the words of James Baldwin, no label, no slogan, no political party, skin color, and indeed no religion is more important than a human being. I also believe the human rights we are born with come with human responsibility. We must respect each other's rights. We cannot deny the rights of others because they are different from us or have something we want. By respecting each other's rights and standing up for those whose rights are being denied, human rights are everyone, everywhere, every day. I appreciate your time and I'm honored to be considered for the Human Rights Commission.
Thank you, Dr. Booker. Next, we will hear from Kiana Kowalski, sorry about that, followed by Cynthia Cannon Poindexter.
No problem. It's a hard last name to say. Good evening, City Councilors. My name is Kiana Kabuko-Kanowski, and I'm interested in joining the Human Rights Commission. I originally moved up to Eugene for school, and I'm a proud double duck with a bachelor's degree in communications and a master's in business administration. Originally from Southern California, I mostly lived in areas where white was considered a minority. So moving to Oregon was a bit of a culture shock for me. After living in Lane County for over a decade, I've learned what parts of town I am more welcome and where I feel more on edge, watched. I've learned I can be racially profiled within view of my own home, and I've learned there are many who have neither experienced something like this or understand that this is happening in their own community. In my work as deputy director at a local nonprofit, one of my roles is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Coordinator. In this position, I connect local organizations with our physician members to provide a list of resources and information, including ways homelessness and food insecurity affect health outcomes, inclusive and comprehensive care for individuals who identify as LGBTQ+, and ways to get more involved. I also work with physicians and medical staff discussing the retention of doctors with diverse backgrounds, including a training where members shared their struggles with racism at work and examples of how their white peers can listen and advocate with them. Enabling these open conversations helps break down barriers and creates better understanding. These efforts to retain diverse healthcare workers can also increase comfort for minority patients seeking care. In my volunteer efforts, I'm constantly advocating to increase awareness for the need for more diverse or more visible diversity, including speakers, businesses, and local resources. I've worked with Leadership Eugene Springfield on their DEI skill set training, encouraging participants to lean on their peers and seek resources that are already available before asking those who they think would typically have the answers. I come from a family of people who didn't believe in voting, but I've seen the power people have when working within their community. And so I'd like to use my voice to work with the Human Rights Commission, advocating for greater resources and equity throughout the area, educating individuals on ways they can show support and allyship, and building a more welcoming space for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiana. Next, we will hear from Cynthia Cannon Poindexter, followed by Edgar Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Cannon Poindexter, and I'm applying to be on the Human Rights Commission. I really appreciate this invitation, and I certainly appreciate your commitment to human rights. After being an East Coaster my entire life, I moved to Eugene 6 years ago to spend the rest of my life here. And I chose Eugene because of the commitment you seem to have to diversity and inclusion and rights and dignity. And I care very deeply about Eugene and would like to do anything I can to continue your commitment to inclusion. I'm a professional social worker. I retired a year ago after 46 years in the field. My methods of social work were administration, education, and advocacy. And I want to highlight what happened in the mid-'80s when I was living in my home state of South Carolina. I began working in the HIV pandemic, and HIV has been my focus ever since. I continue to work in the HIV field as a board member at the HIV Alliance here in Eugene. I'm coming to the end of my second term now. I began being committed to human rights during that period of time because in the 80s, in the HIV pandemic, stigma and discrimination were so deadly and we were so divided against each other that I had to use a framework to make sense of that and to help people advocate. And that's what brought me to human rights. When I began teaching graduate social workers, I was teaching a lot of classes in ethics and oppression, social justice, environmental justice, and economic justice. And I did not find any material on human rights in the social work curriculum. So at Fordham University in New York, where I was working, I developed the first human rights course there and taught it for many years. And as a matter of fact, the department embraced human rights as their mission after that. After moving to Eugene, I taught a human rights course at Pacific University at the satellite office. In addition to my being very concerned about the rights of people who are ill, I am quite interested in the rights of vulnerable community members, such as people who are immigrants, transgender, BIPOC, struggling with addictions or mental health issues, unhoused, formerly incarcerated. I am really interested in helping everyone become part of the community. And I thank you for your time and really thank you for your commitments.
Thank you, Cynthia. Next, we will hear from Edgar Rodriguez, followed by Catherine Murray, if she has come in. Edgar, go ahead and unmute.
Good afternoon, members of the City Council. I'm Edgar Ted Rodriguez, hereby tendering my candidacy for the Human Rights Commission. I am equipped with a robust academic repertoire encompassing Bachelor of Science degrees in sociology, education, psychology, environmental sustainability, and environmental economics and policy conferred upon me by Oregon State University. I am deeply invested in the work of the Human Rights Commission due to my dedication and understanding the diverse human condition. My education in sociology, psychology, environmental economics, and policy has equipped me with a nuanced understanding of human interactions, mental well-being, and societal structures. This knowledge fuels my dedication to safeguarding human rights with a special focus on mental health rights and the rights of diverse populations, which are central to the human rights framework. In my prospective role, my focus will be on promoting both equity and equality. Equality seeks to distribute resources or opportunities uniformly, while equity emphasizes tailoring provision of resources to individual needs. These principles are vital to the ideals of fairness and justice. My goal is to ensure these principles are balanced in our discussions and actions, thereby addressing diverse needs and promoting human rights. I also bring a strong academic background in applied social psychology, which I regard as a powerful tool for social equity. I believe that transformative power of education in breaking down systematic barriers and cultivating understanding, respect, compassion, mental health awareness, and diversity appreciation. I aim to lead educational initiatives within the Commission that foster deep understanding and respect for human rights. Should I have the privilege to serve in the Human Rights Commission, I commit to using my broad academic background to advocate for inclusive and diverse policies. I envision establishing educational forums that foster mental health awareness and celebrate diversity. I anticipate implementing programs that enhance our understanding of human rights, mental health, diversity and inclusion, and environmental sustainability, thereby fostering a culture that values and actively participates in these principles. In conclusion, my passion for human rights, mental health, diversity, and environmental justice, backed by strong academic foundation, makes me a suitable candidate for the Human Rights Commission. I am eager to contribute to the commendable work of the Commission, striving towards our shared goal of the city, where all individuals' rights are recognized and upheld, mental health and diversity are prioritized, and sustainability is integral to our development. I sincerely thank you for considering my application to the Eugene Human Rights Commission. Thank you, Governor Ted Rodriguez.
Thank you, Edgar. Unless there is a Catherine Murray in the room, Council President, that was our final speaker.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the City Council? I have a question.
So there are folks that were invited that haven't interviewed yet. Do they have another opportunity to interview on the other date that we have, or how's that going to work?
So we had a total of 2 people that were invited that withdrew, and 1 person that was invited that has not responded and didn't show up tonight.
Okay, who were those people?
So Catherine Murray did not respond and did not show tonight. Nima Harmon for Toxics Board withdrew, and Jordan Myers for Human Rights Commission also withdrew.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I think we.
Council President.
Yes, Vice President.
It's thank you. Going back to the Toxics Board, memory serves, there's a description for 1 advocacy position and 1 neutral position that are open. Can we get clarification on that? And are the candidates running for either one of those slots?
So the candidates that spoke this evening would be considered for the advocacy position. Once the board is full for the advocacy and industry positions, then that full board will then deliberate and select the neutral member to put forth for nomination and appointment with the council. So we'll start that. We wanted to put a pause on that so that they had a full board of people to make that decision for that neutral position. So that will be decided once the appointments are done.
Great. So to clarify, there are 2 vacancies. We vote for 1.
Correct.
Toxics Board fills the other.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you all for showing up.